Hi, I'm Kylie Anne Neal, founder of Kan Culture, and welcome to Kan Talk Kulture. In this podcast, I sit down with some of Australia's most progressive founders and CEOs to explore the heart of their company cultures, what drives them, what they value, and what it's really like to work for the companies they lead. You'll also find occasional episodes packed with practical HR insights to help you build safer, stronger, and more trusted workplaces. So whether you're a new team member getting to know your workplace, curious about creating remarkable company cultures, or just wanting to know more about implementing HR best practice, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Kan Talk Kulture. Joining me today is Ben Grozier, who is the CEO and founder of ClassCover. ClassCover is an tech-enabled platform transforming casual teaching staffing across schools in Australia, New Zealand and Singapore. Ben launched ClassCover in 2011 and since then it's grown to support over 2,300 schools and 80,000 teachers. Under his guidance, the company has continued to innovate, including launching ClassCover Learn. Ben is deeply committed to building culture and leading with empathy. He often speaks about learning through mistakes, creating space for curiosity and vulnerability, and ensuring tech enhances, not replaces, the human side of education. Beyond ClassCover, Ben is a mentor, an investor, and community advocate. He's well known on the Northern Beaches and even ran for local council to support education, the environment, and small business, demonstrating that leadership starts with community. What stands out most is how grounded Ben is. I've had the pleasure of knowing Ben for about 6 years now, and he's very approachable, genuine, and he really does bring integrity to everything that he does, whether it's mentoring startups or organising pickleball tournaments. I'm really grateful for Ben's support. He's been a big supporter of Kan Culture since the early days. And I'm really excited today to explore how his team is shaping the future of education, tech and leadership. Ben, welcome to Kan Talk Culture.
Thanks very much, Kylie. Good to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Let's start by, can you just give us a little bit of an introduction of who you are and what ClassCover is all about?
Yeah, no worries. So I am the co-founder and CEO of ClassCover, have been since about 2012 when we launched the business. And my background was actually a professional tennis coach and a school teacher. And so I'm actually non-technical. I run a software business, but I'm not technical. I don't write code. And so we have a great team behind us that takes care of all of that. I've learned a lot over the past 14 years about the technical aspects of the business. I guess away from ClassCover, I really, that was a glowing appraisal you gave there in your introduction. And again, paints a pretty good picture of sort of what my life looks like. It's pretty diverse these days. I've got 3 young kids, one in primary school, 2 have just started high school. I love my golf, love my surfing, love my photography, love being on Burleigh Heads, love being at Burleigh Heads, which where we currently find ourselves. And my beautiful wife Ali makes up our little family on the northern beaches of Sydney, and life is good.
Beautiful. And what about ClassCover? Give us a bit of a rundown of what ClassCover is. You're from Sydney, but you're currently up in the Gold Coast doing some very exciting things with Department of Education Queensland.
Yeah.
So give us a bit of a rundown about where ClassCover has evolved to today.
Yeah, for sure. So ClassCover is a software as a service that helps schools manage casual relief teachers. As I was explaining when we were off the mic before, it's what I describe as a huge solution to a huge problem in a bit of a niche market. It was all born out of lived experience. In 2011, I'd been back from 5 or 6 years in the UK, hitting tennis balls for a living. Got sick of the winters over there, and so came back to Sydney. And I was actually in the surf, and it was the middle of winter, pouring rain, and it's important to note because it's the highest demand time for casual teachers. And I got out of the surf and got a call from the school where my daughter actually went to primary school, and it was, can you come in and teach? And I said, yeah, no worries, see you in 20 minutes. And then about 10 minutes later, I got a call from the same school, different teacher, saying, can you come in and teach? I said, no, I'm already working for Tony. I'll see you in there. Then I got another call, same school, different teacher. Can you come and teach? And I said, this is ridiculous. I've said yes to Tony 25 minutes ago, and you guys are calling me again from the same school. How much time is being wasted here chasing teachers that are already unavailable, whether it be because they're already booked in another school, just generally unavailable. Surely there's something that can be done about this. Then there was a bit of a serendipitous Facebook post back in the day where people were posting sort of Facebook statuses, like giving sort of a live stream into their emotional state, I guess. And it was a mate of mine who was a deputy principal, and he put up on his Facebook status, 22 calls to find 2 casual teachers, great way to spend a Sunday, in sort of this sense of this sort of tone of exasperation. And then from there, that was kind of the catalyst for the idea, I guess. Sketched up some pretty rudimentary designs. Frankly, ripped it off what a hotel booking platform called whatif.com used to use in relation to a matrix of availability with dates across the top and hotels down the bottom, and applied that to casual relief teaching. And so that was 2011, and then set about building it, and outsourced that, and then into the hustle, really. And it was, and this is cutting obviously a extremely long story short, but a passage of time where we were just grinding,
yes,
and trying to validate, trying to get early traction, early revenue, trying to pay ourselves a salary. And then skip forward to a couple of bigger wins in relation to enterprise contracts and what have you. Found our feet, I guess, found break even, and then skipping forward even more. And the reason why I'm in beautiful Burleigh today is that we signed the Queensland Department of Education on the 1st of July, which is a big win for our little business. For some context, we're about 3,300 schools that have been built up over a period of 14 years. And this is an extra 1,300 all tied up in one contract.
Fantastic.
So it's a really big deal for us, and we're just in the early days of execution and rolling that out, which is why I've been in Queensland for 3 out of the last 4 weeks, which is great. Good to be here.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it's good to have you here. And I think the work that you've been doing since I've known you, but the team is a very, very solid team. It's very eclectic team, if I could call it that, but the team is so solid. What is important to you from a team perspective, and how do you really rally around the team and enable them to rally around each other? Yeah,
it's incredibly important to me, but it also comes with selfish motivations in that, again, with 3 young kids and a desire to have a enjoyable life as well as a successful life, you need to have a lot of good people around you. So it's not all altruistic. It helps me having a great culture as much as it helps them. Yes. But to the point around what creates that, it's funny, I've probably said this 3 times in the last 10 days, just one of those moments in time where I'm doing a bit of speaking, a bit of mentoring, doing this today with you. And that is, if you show me a team that is very comfortable with saying, I'm wrong, I need help, I don't know, and I've extended that lately to say, I'm over budget, I'm late. If you're very comfortable with saying that to whether it be your manager, your owner, your colleague, and getting that stuff out in the open early, and then collaborating on solving those problems, I'll show you a team on rocket boosters every single time. And I really do live by that, the vulnerability. I'm a big heart on my sleeve kind of guy. I find communication fairly effortless. And I try to encourage that with the team.
Yes.
And that is to be vulnerable, to understand that no one's getting out of bed in the morning and thinking, how am I going to screw up ClassCover today?
Yes.
Just like I've said it to my team of under 11s soccer kids, in which my youngest son is a part of. When there's been a bit of niggle between two boys because one's made a mistake, I said, well, he didn't get out of bed this morning and say, how am I going to stuff up under 11 Apex today?
Yes.
And so get around him, help him solve the problem.
Yes.
And solving the problem might just be restoring someone's confidence because they've made a mistake.
Yep.
And in a football context, it might be putting an arm around him and saying, it's all right, mate, up you get, let's keep going. In a business context, it might be, okay, yeah, mistakes been made. Thanks for bringing that to me so early. Let's fix it up together.
Yep.
Or let's get the resources in place to fix it together. There is nothing worse than going to ground and shutting up from a communication point of view.
Yes.
When there's a problem to be solved. And so that's very much one of the pillars of what creates a great culture from my perspective.
And just to share a story with the listeners, I was involved in a meeting about ISO accreditation with ClassCover recently, and the ISO consultant had asked questions about onboarding, and we went through how we onboard staff at ClassCover, and then the ISO consultant asked about offboarding, and Prash, that was on the call with me, we've both looked at each other and we were like, nobody leaves. Nobody leaves. And I think it is real testament to yourself, Ben, but also the amazing humans that you have within the team. I think being able to embrace that stability and for them to rally around each other when some of the work that you do as a team, and particularly going through tender processes for 20 months long, like that puts a lot of pressure on people, and for them to feel supported and energized in a high pressure environment is really remarkable. And I think the other point would be from a retention perspective. Many businesses struggle with retention at the best of times, but you have a workplace where the team are all over the place. It's not like you have a small office where they can, come in and rally around each other. Like all the team work remotely. So being able to capture that essence where most businesses struggle with that remoteness of work. They struggle with retention, but it's things that because of the way that you lead the team and because of the way that they establish themselves within ClassCover, it just, I'm sure it's not completely seamless, but it is a real testament to yourself and the team.
Yeah, thanks. It's interesting, I think there's one thing to kind of add or provide context to that, and especially when we talk about the team being completely dispersed, and I guess for your listeners, it wasn't always like that. We pretty much had a Sydney office, an office in Cebu in the Philippines, and an office in Chennai. So we had three teams, and then COVID hit, and obviously that dispersed everyone, whether you liked it or not. But we also went through a stage of growth, and so then needed to hire. And when we're all in lockdown conditions, we ended up hiring from Melbourne to Townsville. So when we had an opportunity to come back to an office, we were like, well, it's not really worth it because everyone's everywhere anyway.
Yes.
But I guess what I just say to that quickly is that I think it's important for teams and business owners to understand the value of, it's sort of what I'd refer to as almost a savings account of rapport and relationship, which we benefited greatly from. So yes, we haven't lost people, which again, I'm happy to take an amount of credit for that. And that's multifaceted, right? People need to be paid well. They need to have good conditions. They need to be energized. They need to enjoy what they do. And so I feel like we do tick those boxes really well. However, if you're growing a team from scratch and you're straight into a dispersed environment, it is a lot more difficult to do that because you don't have that, what I'd call that sort of savings account of rapport and relationship. Like going into that dispersion,
Yes.
we had a team who had spent time together, who did get to know everyone's idiosyncrasies, that did get to know, oh, when this person's talking like that, they're stressed, or when this person's talking like that, like they're a little worried, or when this person's talking like that, they're excited,
Yes.
and they're sort of missing details because they're just got to have sort of puppy-like excitement, which is probably me. But taking that into a world where we were completely dispersed,
Yes.
gives you a big leg up.
Yes.
Because then when you go to a lot of Slack chat or Teams chat, a lot of online, a lot of non-face-to-face, I can see that when that person's doing that, they need this level of support, or this is how they act. And I think it's an important consideration because it's a bit of an unfair advantage in many respects.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do also think, Ben, that that comes very naturally to you and I think that's one of the strongest points of your leadership is that you do have that, call it emotional intelligence or emotional awareness to see the signs of what that looks like from a team perspective and understand, when to lean in and when to lean out and let them get on with their job. So, I do really think that is, a really solid testament of your leadership style and the way that you support the team, which, I know that the team are very valuable, but, there's also a lot of gratitude within the team, which is, those things that aren't spoken about a lot.
Yeah, and I'm happy to take that compliment. And again, I appreciate it. It does come from, learnt experiences of being in less than optimal environments. In a previous life, there is there's a massive trust element. There's also what I would say, like I don't really try to live my life. I think it's just the way I was born, frankly, on what I sort of call like a first principles basis. And then what is the actual problem here? Like I don't do anything just because dozens of other people have done it before me.
Yep.
That would extend to everything from the whether it be the parent I am to the suburb I choose to live in. I try to make decisions all the time on that first principles. What's the actual problem that needs to be solved? And I think, like if you take that around, say, work flexibility, I have no issue with my team doing side gigs at all. As long as they're getting their job done, I encourage them to start. I do it. I mentor startups. I have have a hand in my family business still. That keeps me massively fresh and energized, and it also gets me. It allows me to educate myself from other areas of the world outside the ClassCover bubble.
Yes.
But there are plenty of people who, when they hear that, they go, "What?"
Yes. Yes. There's conflict. There's conflict
You're letting
there.
your designer moonlight for someone else. It's like,
Yes.
Like, does she do an outstanding job? Absolutely, she does. Is she learning things that she'd never learn at ClassCover because she's just working in a slightly different culture, solving a slightly different problem? Yes, she is. Is she getting out of bed in the morning feeling more refreshed because she's just spent half a day talking about something totally opposite the ClassCover? Yes, she is. But it never ceases to amaze me how much people just shut down to those sorts of what they might think are unconventional concepts, when I think the net result of an amazing team culture, energized team, zero churn in your team is the outcome, and we all want that. Yes. Because it is a massive pain in my ass if someone leaves. Yes. It's expensive. Yes. And it's time consuming. Yes. And so I do anything to keep good people. Yeah. Fantastic. And it is quite unique to have that perspective, as a founder. So what's coming up next for ClassCover? So for ClassCover, there's this this beast of a Queensland rollout, which is kicked off really well. You talk about culture. I've had to wrestle with some pretty serious imposter syndrome in the last month or so. Also talk about having a great team around me. I've spent such an incredibly small amount of time in a formal corporate bureaucratic setting that it's actually quite intimidating to me. Just the processes and the jargon and the acronyms and even just the dynamic.
Yes.
But again, the team around me, it's not their first rodeo. My CTO was telling me just when we're up in Brisbane for the first time, telling me how he's based in Chennai in India, and when he was with Amazon, he got seconded to Seattle to deploy a massive project for them. 3 months working over in Seattle, whatever. He was cool as a cucumber up with these with the Queensland DOE. So again, putting great people around me. But what's next is we roll out to 1,300 new schools within the next probably 6 to 8 months. Super exciting.
Yeah.
And then there's other things happening in parallel. We sort of have a vision for being kind of like a LinkedIn for education. Mainly, again, to keep it really short, but teachers frankly don't like LinkedIn. They don't find the content relevant. The culture on there is way too corporate. Funnily enough, they tell us that they're worried about seeing parents on there, but they do crave a sort of digital professional network. Because ClassCover has there's an employment, there's the software platform aspect, the employment. We've got a recruitment job board. We've got teacher professional development. We feel like if we add a few things to that in the way of services and then bring them all together, that we'll have something sort of akin to like a LinkedIn for education. So that might have to be on the back burner for a little while because of rolling out this large enterprise contract. But it's always churning away in the background.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very exciting to see where that goes. If you had someone listening to this that was starting with ClassCover and today was their first day, what message would you want to give to them?
So opposed to kind of that corporate jargon, that corporate cliche, like, spitballing, touching base, like blah 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 blah. I used to advocate for a corporate swear jar. That if you said something like,
synergies,
I'll circle back to you, then you got to put $1 in the jar. So, but that being said, there is a phrase, and it's an important phrase, and it's an important thing around just psychological safety and being made to feel extremely at ease.
Yes.
In an otherwise quite uncomfortable and intimidating environment, which is what you face whenever you start a new job with a new organisation.
Yes.
So I guess back to what I said earlier around the being comfortable around being wrong, asking for help.
Yep.
Just to lay that groundwork. And again, human nature and people are different, but sometimes you need to reiterate that 3, 4, 5 times. And it's okay. If someone is reticent to ask a question because they don't know and they're insecure because they think they should, they might be a week into a new job and they might think, damn it, I should actually remember this. I remember being told this, but I don't know. It's that reiteration that it's okay.
Yep.
Like, we can't retain everything. We're not listening all the time.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But what's not fine is not asking for help.
Yes.
Not letting people know what you need.
Yes.
And that is so fundamental to that onboarding experience and welcoming someone in. And I guess in addition to that, there is instilling that sort of mindset around not only autonomy, but the value of being a lateral thinker, that everyone needs to be an entrepreneur. Again, go to first principles. Would I take that clock in, clock out? And look, we have people who have to be online at a particular time and they clock off at a particular time.
Yes.
If they're 5 minutes late, it's not good enough. So it's not all la-di-da sort of ultra flexibility, turn up when you want to turn up. If you're in a customer facing role, that's just a reality.
Yes.
However, if you show the ability to be a good lateral thinker, be entrepreneurial, be flexible, to own your mistakes, then of course, aside from being on time as a customer service representative, because customers won't be waiting to ask you questions, then there is a huge amount of flexibility available to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's and once that's embedded, and we've had people who take a while to actually believe that.
Yes.
They can't believe this flexibility is being extended to them.
Yes.
But that's part the trust.
Yes.
That's part of focus on outcomes and not input, which I'm massive on. Show me outcomes.
Yes.
I don't care about input.
Yeah.
Been asked to do something, just get it done. Let us know if it's not going to be on time, preferably way in advance, but it's all okay. And that sort of gets people off on the right foot.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
Then they feel that safety. Go back to that word, whether it be psychological safety, I don't know what you call it, workplace safety, whatever. They feel that immediate safety.
Yes.
And then with that vulnerability, really very little can go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've used the word trust a couple of times. And I think, trust, if we look at the 5 dysfunctions of a team, trust is that basic foundation. And what I'm hearing you explain is that you have an environment of trust. You trust the people that come into the organization, and allowing that permission for themselves to trust themselves, trust the choices, the decision making that they have within the business. So it would take a while for people, because I'm sure coming from a different work environment where trust may not be at the pinnacle of that work environment, it would take a transition for someone to wholeheartedly trust not just the people around them, not just you, but also to trust themselves, and for them to know that they were brought in because they have the level of capability and the skill set that you were after when you brought them into the business, and also obviously the cultural fit as well to enable them to thrive in the ClassCover environment. Yeah,
absolutely. And look, that the cultural aspect is just massive. Yeah, we had a little get together in Sydney last Friday, and there was maybe 30 people in the room, and it was a mix of, I sort of described it, one of the other 5 times I've had to talk in public in the last week or so. I sort of described it as the room being divided into 2, and that was people in my life who had just checked in regularly about this Queensland deal. How's it going? Where's it at? How you feeling? And that's incredibly considerate, and it's incredibly valuable to me to have that support network around me. And then it was my team, or certainly part of my team, and the funny thing is that across those people who were very considerate, and those people who were who are part of the ClassCover culture, which I think is a very healthy one, the entire night was just people just getting on. I mean, frankly, a lot of them had met each other at past gatherings, but whether it be that reconnection or that initial connection, just like-minded people, just having meaningful conversations. And it could have been about whatever. It could have been geopolitics, could have been about cricket, doesn't matter. But our authentic conversations, and then the flurry of text messages comes through. Then it has such a great night, like that guy I met last night, or that person I spoke to last night. I never realised that this and that, and again, that's such a cultural. It's such an important part of building that good culture, is that shared values, and again, just a willingness to be open to I guess meeting new people, doing new things. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that insight. You really are very, I wouldn't even use the word innovative, but you are quite unique in the way that you see company culture and the way that you do support and nourish your team. And you're so genuine about the way that you show up for your team, and that's really, really evident. I think if we look at the key takeaways that I think are some really good takeouts that I've seen from what you've said and what I've heard, is the first one would be you mentioned about the savings account in rapport and relationships, and the importance of understanding what that kind of unspoken credit system would seem like in building a really great culture and having really great people within your team and within your system of ClassCover and within the ClassCover family. The second one for me would be the comfort in being wrong and making mistakes, and what a significant impact and a return in investment that has, and being able to show vulnerability in the space of work where we're kind of conditioned to try and have the answers or try and be right, or, be seen as having the right outputs and making the right decisions. But, from what you have said, it's being able to say, I absolutely stuffed this up. I screwed this up, and being that as a fabric in the ClassCover team and the way that you guys communicate with each other is really, really significant, I think. And the last takeout for me from what you've said is that trust that we touched on before, that trust in enabling not just trust between yourself and the team members, between the team members, but also that self-trust that, they really need to dig deep, because again, we're socialized to be in a lot of work environments where trust isn't always evident, nevertheless celebrated. So I think those three things are really fundamental to how workplace culture shows up for you and your team at ClassCover.
Yeah.
So just before we finish off, I've just got one last question for you. If ClassCover were a song, what would it be and why?
So it's funny. This came to me pretty quickly, and I'm sure I'm not alone as a founder of a startup business to say this, but probably the song "Roller Coaster" by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I think the lyric in the chorus is, "Your love is like a roller coaster, baby."
Are you going to sing it for us?
I'm not going to sing it for you. I was actually on a fireside chat 2 days ago, and the guy hosting it busts out a guitar and asked for some impromptu lyrics, funnily enough, about where we were and what we were doing. And that was seriously being put on the spot. But
you play the guitar, don't you?
I play the guitar,
yes.
But it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, you're gonna bring these people who have in many instances sort of no skin in the game other than it's their 9 to 5.
Yes.
You have to empathise greatly if they're going to be in that environment where there are lots of ups and downs.
Yes.
And of course, massive ups and downs, massive roller coaster over a course of 12, 13, 14 years. But even day to day, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a small business owner myself, I absolutely appreciate roller coaster.
That's right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
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 So it's that would sum it up about best.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for your time, Ben. Thank you for coming in, and I'm very excited to see what you and the team achieve in the next coming months, years, decades. ClassCover will live on and will keep growing and evolving. And I also personally thank you for the support that you've given to Kan Culture since I started a couple of years ago. So you've been in my corner, and I really, really appreciate you, and I really appreciate the team.
That's really kind, Kylie. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we love having you on our team too.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you everyone for listening to Kan Talk Culture, and we look forward to the next episode. Thanks for joining me on Kan Talk Culture. I'm Kylie Anne Neal. I hope today's episode gave you a clearer view into the values driving your workplace, or sparked new ideas about building a remarkable company culture. If you're a founder or CEO interested in sharing your culture story, or if you're looking to build a safer, stronger, and more trusted workplace, let's connect. Visit kanculture.com. That's KANKULTURE.com to learn more. Please hit that subscribe button to hear more real conversations with founders and CEOs and hands-on episodes full of people-first culture advice. I look forward to connecting with you on our next episode.